Okay, so we're back at KSV, knowledge, skills, and values. I've referred to these aspects in previous slides, I think specifically in chapter 1, if I'm not wrong. And basically, it gets explained very easily, simply, clearly on the slides as well in your textbook. So please refer to that. And basically, I've referred to knowledge as being the content that you communicate to the kids in your classroom, and skills, what skill, if it's cutting, or maybe it's cooking, or then the values that you contribute to their lives to becoming appropriate or good citizens. All right, so working on their values and changing their mindsets. All right, so mainly there's two ideas when considering curriculum content. The one school of thought is saying that you have to specialize in smaller entities when we think of the kids or the learners in school. Whereas the other thought is saying that no, you've got to have more experiences and different areas that learners get exposed to. So you can imagine the second bullet point is from, say, grade 8 to grade 9 in high school equivalent curriculums, whereas it's a more specialized subject choice in grade 10 to 12. Also, please know, if we ask you what is differentiated curricula or curriculum, be able to answer that. So I'm not going to help you with that. There's the bullet points, and you can think of your own way of answering that as well. Big challenge in South Africa is that there's only English and Afrikaans that allows kids to continue to study in their own home language when we're referring to the content. So if you're a Zulu speaking individual and you're in grade 3 and you're speaking Zulu, yeah, it's wonderful, and then you go to grade 4 and all of a sudden the content, well, the material, the teacher, everyone is in English. So you can imagine the surprise and the challenge of a child who is good in Zulu. So they can misunderstand or misinterpret the knowledge that's being conveyed in the classroom setup. So I want to challenge those who are more academic teachers to contribute to this challenge in a way where you can allow other kids to also continue their studies in their own home language. All right, this is a nice visual representation, but you also have to read up on GET and FET. Please don't just go through these slides. We can ask you any question. So you can imagine we can ask you, how many subjects do you need or do you take in senior phase level? Or you can even ask, what subjects do you take in foundation phase? So then you need to mention, okay, you can figure out the table, but mention those subjects that you need to take. So even if you're not an FET teacher, you still need to know the combination of subject choices, and that is one home language, that's a first additional language, and then math or math literacy and life orientation as the subjects that you have to take. And then you have 3 electives. Okay, so hopefully if you have a creative kid in your class, you're going to, and it's available at your school, you're going to say visual arts and music and dramatic arts. All right, so keep that in mind. So even though you are listening to what I'm saying on the lectures or going to class or doing the activities or assessments, ultimately, we always need to refer to the textbook as guiding tool. And the same in our classroom. So keep that in mind as you work through the following slides. I'm not going to go into detail, but read up on that on the slides as well as your textbook. Okay, so what does LTSM refer to? That's learning and teaching support material. So basically, the material in South Africa is a big challenge because you can imagine low resource communities or rural schools, they have limited funds. So there's a lot of kids that has to share a textbook. That's all right. But the challenge is, you can imagine with the fact that this learner can't take it home and do summaries at home, so that what they get in class is what they get. And so you can imagine it's a bit of a challenge in South Africa, and it's something that the Department of Basic Education needs to work on. Okay, so I hope that helped you, and that is basically it. Read through the rest of the slides, and then that's a wrap for chapter 6.